What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Black On Podcast, where we bring you Texans news, gossip, and more. And today, this is boy AD with Leo, Bab, and our special guest Steven. How you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Good, man.
Good. How you doing?
All right, doing pretty good. So what we do is we'll start off with the quick notes and tidbits of the past week. First off, let's talk about Rusty Hardin putting a big ass boot in his mouth. Happy endings, which has been a conversation on Twitter, on Spaces. It's gained national attention along with the 23rd and 24th allegation. I don't think we talked about the 23rd, 24th allegation coming on Monday. So, what are you guys' thoughts about Rusty Hardin and his happy endings comment and the allegations as well, the new allegations? Go ahead, Steven. You can go first.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I get what he was trying to say. He was trying to say that if you have consensual sex, that it's not a crime. But the problem of what he said was, in my opinion, is first off, and many of you guys have seen this, and you've heard this from different legal experts, but it gives away his intentions of, hey, what was he going there for? You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's a bad look. I think it shows what Deshaun's mindset was when he was going into those, to get those massages. And, I've been a big supporter of, hey, you're not guilty until, you're proven guilty. But at this point, we're past that phase. And now, with everything going on with the legal stuff, I'm starting to really come around to the idea that, hey, this guy really had bad intentions. And sure, some of those women probably agreed to do things and it was consensual and, hey, that's his business. But, all it takes is one person to not agree and then you've crossed the line. And, I just think it's a bad look and it's going to be tough for Rusty and his team to defend that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, damn. I mean, I just feel like there is I guess when you defend something that is just so stupid, eventually, you're gonna end up saying something stupid to defend it, and I think that's just kind of what happened. Because there's only so many ways. I mean, bro. I mean, after this is just 24 allegations. I mean, I think there was way more than 24 women. So, I mean, at this point, it's obvious that he was soliciting something other than massages. A lot of them didn't have, therapist license. So it's obvious what was kind of going on. I mean, you can't really defend it. I mean, he had I think everybody on this panel agrees that he definitely has a fucking problem. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of ridiculous at this point, but I'm loving it because at the end of the day, I mean, from the Texans' perspective, dude, we got 3 first-round picks from them. And I mean, with every allegation, sadly, for him, whatever. I mean, it's more and more of an opportunity that he gets suspended for longer. And I mean, that's only better for us. So, I mean, and it sucks. And I don't want to just sound like a jackass because he's being accused of some really fucked up shit. It's sad for everyone that was wrong. You know what I mean? And that's most important. But, from a Texans fan perspective, I want my picks to be as high as possible. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think, I really agree with you, Leo. It's kind of funny how, I guess I never thought about it. Like when you're defending some really stupid shit and it goes on for a long time, you're going to start saying some stupid shit about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think my biggest takeaway, my biggest thing that I think, I guess I enjoyed hearing about that interview was how Sean Pendergast and Seth Payne set him up to say some shit out of frustration. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess I got to applaud them on that because, I mean, if they were looking for drama, they definitely got it. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing their job right.
I mean, isn't it funny how things change? I mean, just a year ago with all this coming out, Deshaun wanted to get traded. I mean, everybody was killing the Texans. But, I mean, if you really look at it, there's really no team that should have traded for Deshaun.
Oh, no.
I mean, it is so bad. the PR
Hey,
mess.
just count on the Browns, dude. Just count on them.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to applaud Caserio. I mean, 3 first-round picks. You know, he got a little hate for it because expectations were high. But I mean, looking back at it now with how it's still going on and there's more issues coming out, it's like, I mean, you got to applaud that. He did a great job.
So for me, I'm going to go ahead and say what, because there's been a lot of arguments, there's been a lot of debates, there's been a lot of hot topic talk with Deshaun Watson, amongst the Twitter village and Twitter spaces, especially Texan spaces, especially this last week with the allegations coming out. You have those, that say, he was young, he's a kid, he's dumb, he did dumb shit. You have others that, kind of paint the picture of how, he did things, in a way, and they kind of chalk it up to that's what they do in the NFL, though, he didn't get the idea from out of the blue. This is something that, was passed down by other players or whatever, kind of creating that narrative that the NFL players move a certain way when it comes to women, when it comes to sex, when it comes to all these different things. And at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson moved in a way that he didn't have to. He moved in a way that shows that he has a kink, and, he let that, his, sexual desires and, his kink kind of take over what he could be doing with the amount of money, the amount of resources, and everything that he had available to him. The Houston Texans, even though they cleaned out those people that aided and abetted, what he was doing, they have a part in it as well. So don't leave the Texans out of it. But at the end of the day, as a fan, I can say I'm glad it's not my problem anymore. A Texan fan, it's not my problem anymore. I can say that, good luck to you, Cleveland. But Cleveland knew what they were getting into, just based on the way that they moved after the trade, the way they restructured his contract so that he wouldn't take a financial hit and they wouldn't take a financial hit as well. If you notice that, I think it was a chart that pulled up that somebody retweeted or whatever, that Cleveland has the #1 amount of cap space, and people are trying to figure out how the hell do they have all that cap space. Well, they restructured Deshaun Watson's $45 million contract to create that cap space so that he can, basically, he's getting all but $1 million in signing bonus, and the rest, is to that $1 million is to the cap. So you kind of save that $40 million plus based on that. But at the end of the day, he moved weird. He did things weird. It's coming to light. Rusty Hardin is making it worse the more he talks. He's trying to, and 6'10" is playing the game because a few days before, if not the day before, they had Tony Busby on. Mm-hmm. Talk and say his piece. So whenever that happens, you put Rusty Hardin in the hot seat saying, okay, since I'm not going to let Tony Busby get all his traction, especially after HBO article and everything like that. So let me get on the radio too and counteract whatever he's saying. Then you go in and say some crazy, kind of showing your age type thing. To me, I'm just gonna say that's an old white man comment.
100%.
And so
that's a country club comment.
Exactly. That's him basically saying, I've done it before. This is out of the, I've gotten happy endings. So it's not out of the ordinary. As long as you don't quote unquote pay for it, because
you have to edit that out.
Yeah. You don't pay for the sexual act, but what's to say you pay for that high-end massage? Every other massage is a certain amount. And you got that one special massage that's a little bit extra that come with something, but it's not written out what it is that comes with it, other than it's similar to all the other massages, but it's just a few dollars more.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
quote unquote,
like you
didn't
said,
pay for the sexual act.
Right. I mean, if they're the ones that are initiating it, And I'm sure that happens with an athlete like Deshaun, you know. I mean, you know, a great football player. Of course it happens. No doubt about it. Then, you know, to Hardin's point, what I think he was trying to say is that there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's a consensual act. But it obviously wasn't consensual in every case because, you know, these women, and you can, of course, you can say that they're lying, of course, and you know, that's fair. But if you look at the number of cases, you know, it just, you know, everyone's gonna make their own opinion. But to me, it just seems like that there is some non-consensual stuff going on. So it is what it is.
At the end of the day, you know, hey, they got 24 out there, the 22 original, 2 additional the last week or so. And, you know, wouldn't surprise me if there's more. But the total amount of women, you know, I know, you know, our Swan likes to bring up 40 women, but in actuality, it was 50 plus, right? 52 that we all know about, that it could be more that just haven't filed charges or filed civil cases or whatever on him. So you're talking about in the span of 18 months, he's over 50, 60 women that he's had separate massages or encounters with. I just call them encounters. I don't even want to call them massages.
I mean,
encounters with that.
Yeah,
to me, that number is high. But go ahead, Steve.
No, I was going to say, regardless of where you stand on that, who's lying and who's not, because of course there's people that are going to defend Deshaun, and you know, I respect their opinion. But regardless of that, I mean, for a dude of his stature to basically have a bullseye on his chest, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know he's got a big ass bank account, right? For him to do these things, like, even if it was all consensual, like, to put yourself in a position where someone could lie on you, you know, which again, I don't think is the case. I think that he probably did cross the line, but it was just so stupid. Like, I don't know what the dude was thinking, you know. It's sad, to be honest.
And the people that back him, you know, especially that's Texan fans that back him, they're not backing him based on him, the player. They're backing on him being a young black man kind of getting ridiculed or whatever. But for me, as a black man, you all that support and everything that you would want to garner goes out the window when you do shady, foul shit. It kind of makes it hard to defend, because at the end of the day, you're trying to defend, you know, quote unquote, not quote unquote, you're trying to defend a black man from persecution in the court of law, when at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, the, you know, United States government system towards black men and legal situations have not shined the best light. And for him to come out in the criminal aspect out of it kind of scot-free, doesn't neglect the fact that the way he moved shouldn't be questioned or, you know, shouldn't be challenged or whatever. And then you have the Cleveland fans who just trying to find any little bit and everything to see him on the field in 2022. So they're trying to find all kind of straws. They're throwing out the scenarios that it was a setup. You know, you still have those Cleveland fans that feel like it was a setup. Timeline negates all of that setup crap, because he was doing this stuff before the season ended. He was doing this literally in the middle of the NFL season when he was the he was number 1 in passing that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're setting the league, you know, on fire, quote unquote, you know, first in passing, 30-something touchdowns, you know, doing all these records or whatever. For him, he's in turn doing all this shady shit with, you know, these encounters with these women. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. You know, we can go ahead and, I think we said our piece on it, but I'm pretty sure if it pops back up again, which it will, and I think we'll have to have a special, you know, kind of talk about it when the suspension comes, because there is going to be a suspension. Just debate about how long, and I know there's going to be a whole nother argument about if it wasn't enough games, is it too many games, all that. It is what it is. But moving on, Texans had their second week of OTAs. All reports coming out pretty good. To me, there's no negative reports that are ever going to come out in OTAs. you know, other than you had the Tennessee rookie, Traylon Burks, who, you know, kind of couldn't make it through the first day, those type of things. But other than that, all in all, pretty good report, especially Davis Mills. He's been, you know, kind of hyped up and looking pretty good, you know, in a few plays that the Texans allow you to see now. You know, the few ones that they post on their social media. Lovie Smith, you know, they're kind of hyping him up, and he's kind of showing his personality as well on these, you know, videos that they show. Um, Only negative, or not even negative, but only debatable topics is about appearance at OTAs. Laremy Tunsil has not been at OTAs, and that's been, you know, a debate, you know, which I get, because you get the fans that praise those for showing up, but then want to defend those that don't show up. It is what it is. If they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. It's not mandatory. I think the problem lies is when there is mandatory OTAs. But, you know, what do you guys thoughts about the Laremy Tunsil not showing up, Davis Mills looking pretty good, and all the other comments out of OTAs?
Yeah, I feel if you don't mind me starting, Leo, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. I feel like the Bill O'Brien era brought in as many like whiny crybaby bitches on social media as like you've ever seen on one football team, right? Like so many players from the O'Brien era just complain on social media all the time. Like if you really just go back and look at it, you know what I'm saying? They have like the worst things to say. It's just ridiculous. Like Laramie today with like the corny ass like billboard picture. You know what I'm saying? Like just some stupid shit, man. But anyways, enough. Like that's like really the negative thing. I think, you know, aside from hearing like good things about Davis Mills, which are obviously obvious, and we all know that he's him. Anyways, the next biggest thing I guess I could take away from it is we keep hearing that Mechie's ahead of schedule. Like keep hearing that. That comes out once a week. Hey, holy shit, like Mechie's ahead of schedule. Mechie's ahead of schedule. Another thing is we keep hearing that like Petrie is like picking up the defense. Like and like everyone is super confident with his ability to retain information, learn a playbook, learn plays, know where he needs to be on the field. Now, where is he learning? Where is he learning? You know what I'm saying? Is he learning the playbook at the safety position? Is he learning the playbook from the nickel? Or does he get his own special playbook because he's going to play fucking everywhere? You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, that's cool to see. So some really good obvious things. One cool thing that I guess I haven't really pointed out in spaces or anything like that is, you know, while the Texans have been really conservative with showing us plays or showing us players from camp, one thing I took away from like a running back drill that they were doing is they were having the running back motion to the line of scrimmage up and then out into the flat. So the running back was coming from shotgun up to the guard and out to the flat. And they were practicing that route over and over again. So, you know, the running back's coming up, you know, 3 to 5 yards, out route, catching it in the flat and turning it upfield. And they were having everybody do that, you know, and Mills is putting it right on their face mask, right? And it's like,
nice.
That's fucking weird. Like I've never really seen, you know, like what's the point of that? I've never seen anyone do a concept like that, really. You know what I'm saying? Like usually you just have, you like fucking run sideways for 10 yards, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we'll chunk it out to you, you know? So I just thought that concept was a little interesting. I guess if I had to take something away visually, it's cool to see Brevin Jordan, like diving and catching that pass. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously a great athlete and can catch the ball. You know, if he would just hold on to the ball more than he would hold on to defensive linemen, I think he'd have a, you know, pretty good NFL career. But yeah, those are my takeaways from it.
Yeah, man, I think the Tunsil shit is hilarious, bro, because it's like I feel like, you know, we have every reason. Like it's not that it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? But it's just that it's just hilarious that like people are praising Cooks. You know, they're like, oh my God, like he shows up, he's a work hard guy, you know, he's worth the money we paid him, and because he shows up, and then these same people that would say we need to pay Tunsil $20+ million a fucking year will say, no, it's perfectly fine that he's not there. You know, he doesn't have to be there. It doesn't matter. And it's like, bro, like, I understand we want to be high on all these players. We want the best from them. But I mean, you hear Lovey talk about, attendance means a lot. I mean, the truth is, like, whether or not he has to be there or not, I don't think it's like the end of the world. But I mean, we do have a whole, the whole line is basically new. You know what I'm saying? We got a new left guard. I mean, the center. I mean, how many collective snaps did the starters play together like last year? It wasn't that many.
Yeah, it wasn't even that many.
So you got a new coach, new offensive coordinator, new scheme, new offensive line coach, and he's not there. I mean, I just want people to keep the same energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world, but like if he comes out the same type of player where it's half-ass run blocking, very good pass protection, I mean, good, but I mean, it just goes back to the argument that we always talk about. Is it worth, paying him another $25 million if Titus does the same fucking thing? And I mean, I feel like this attitude just shows that I don't think much has changed, Yeah. And I mean, so.
I mean, I have a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Let me go ahead. Let me ask.
Go ahead, AD. Go ahead,
Stephen, and then I'll let you go. The thing, because I'm gonna forget it. Because the thing I hate is when they say, "Oh, Tunsil doesn't need to, gel because with his position, he doesn't need that time to kind of, build that bond or whatever." Whereas you have Brandon Cooks with Davis Mills. Oh, he needs to be there so he can have timing with Davis Mills and everything like that. Now, it's funny to me when they say that because there's two separate things that happened last year. Laremy Tunsil was injured after game 5 or whatever. He didn't play anymore. So he hasn't had the camaraderie with the offensive line because he did not play most of last year, whereas Brandon Cooks played the whole season with Davis Mills. So if anybody has camaraderie with their teammates, it's Brandon Cooks and Davis Mills because they actually played the whole season together. Worked out in the offseason together before the OTAs. So then, to me, I think Tunsil missing most of the season, missing OTAs, you have to pick a side. Which way do you want to go? Because it can't go one for one and not for the other. But, that was my 2 cents about that. Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all fair points. I think, for me, there was this narrative in the offseason that he didn't want to be here, and that kind of was squashed, right? So we've kind of come to the conclusion, and I think most people are in agreement that he wants to be here, at least, it seems like that. So I'm more in the wait and see, like, is it an excused absence, whatever, as far as the player, I'm higher on Tunsil than probably some of you guys maybe. There's always the guy that like works his ass off, and is there 7 days a week, stays late at work, and he does a great job. And then there's the one guy that really doesn't care, but ends up outperforming that guy just because he's more talented, right? So if at the end of the day, if Tunsil comes and he's just the best player on the field, regardless of what's happened during the week of practice and everything, then, that's a great thing. Where it becomes a problem is it sets a bad example for the other players that do need to put in that work, right? So if it's not excused, I think it is a problem. And I think it's something that he needs to look in the mirror and decide what kind of man, what kind of player he's going to be. But if it was excused, I think maybe it's overblown, So I'm more of a wait and see, see if there's more word on what was the reason he wasn't there. But for me, ultimately, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Then to me, this story and all this stuff comes at a time when it's kind of a dead period and nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
So, when you have the team that you're following, team that you're covering, and, there's really no news directly with the team, you reach for straws because they report in anytime anybody missed a day, whether it be Titus Howard, Derek Stingley, anybody that missed a day, that became a topic of talk. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. it's
I mean, it's
voluntary.
voluntary. It's voluntary.
It's voluntary. So, you know, when it comes next, what is in a few weeks, June 14th.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm not mistaken, that's when mandatory OTAs start on June 14th through the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that would be something. Yeah. That's something you want 100% participation. Unless they're injured, you know. So that's something we'll be looking out, you know, in a week or so.
Yeah, I don't doubt that he'll be there for that. You know what I mean? It's just it. I mean, it's not shocking at all. You know, but like Steven was saying, you know, it's not a big deal. I expect him to be good. You know, it's just hilarious. Like, you know, the kind of the double standard that it could be. And I guess like part of it is that like, I guess like from people's, not to harp on, but it's just like from the perspective of that there's so much change and like the fact that, you know what I'm saying, I guess people expect him to be the leader of the team. And, you know, I think that's part of the reason why people are criticizing it. And the fact that like one of my friends was telling me, you know, he was like, if, you know what I'm saying, if that's Trent Williams and the team is already good, then nobody would give a fuck. You know what I mean? But I mean, because the situation is different, you know what I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the only thing that's going to cure it is just, you know, him coming in and kicking ass. And I think at the end of the day, you know, he does what he does well, and I expect him to do that shit, you know. So, yeah. Y'all want to get into the rookies? Or
yeah, well, you know, let's go ahead and, you know, kind of end our little segment as far as the news notes of the Texans for the last week or so. Mm-hmm. You know, at the end of the day, we went over the allegations with Deshaun. We talked about the OTAs. Pretty all that's been going on with the Texans. But we'll catch you guys next time, you know, on the Black Owned Podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. This is your boy AD. We got Leo, we got Bab, and our special guest Steven. We'll see you guys on the next episode.